Right, we're here in Pacemaker Headers in Adelaide. This is a company that's almost 50 years old, getting up there. It's got a lot of heritage in the motorsport and street machine and hot rodding scenes.
So it's cool to see the original jigs they used to make extractors for Holden grey motors and Reb motors in the 1960s, right through to the gear used for LSA-powered HSVs and the supercharged Coyote V8s. There's a lot of technology and specialised skill that goes into making these products, and it's great that it happens here in Australia. Let's go check out what's involved.
Right, we're here with Damien. This is one of the older mandrel bend machines they have here. It's not as flash as the computerised one we're going to look at in a minute, but it does enable us to look at the mandrel bend process and check it out really nicely. Mate, everybody hears about mandrel bend and they know it's a good thing. What does it actually mean?
Well, mandrel bending is actually all about maintaining the integrity of the pipe. A lot of the old school stuff, people used to do press bending, and press bending doesn't have the support inside the tube. So basically what we were talking about, that things like the mandrel balls themselves, they actually help the pipe stay round and stop it from ovaling out. And that, when you're putting that on a car, when you're doing headers and things like, and exhaust and things like that, what that does, it allows a lot higher, more gas to get through, because it's less restriction. It's a more circular and more larger volume space to get through. So, yeah.
So a press bend pipe is a cheaper system. It doesn't require the investment, so it makes a cheaper pipe. However, you end up with, instead of a nice round hole, you end up with an ugly hole that's difficult for gases to get through, yeah?
Correct.
This is our mandrel here. It's not a monkey with a pink bum, but it's these three little dudes. And inside there are links there that move and allow that to bend with the pipe. And what else have we got here? These are the dies, yeah?
Yeah, so these are all the tooling dies. So obviously in the process, which you'll see that the gripper block comes up, and that the gripper block of this part here and that part there, yep. And they hold the pipe to help the pipe come around. And this is assisted by the pressure here is making sure that the amount of material gets pulled around with the bend. So that's what that die does, that pulls that around with it. And as I said, the mandrel stops the pipe from ovaling out on the back of the bend. And on the inside of the bend, this piece of tooling here is what we call a wiper die. That wipes the bend smooth, so it keeps making sure that it all stays round instead of ovaling out or bubbling out.
Alright, so basically behind us we have one of the computerised versions of those mandrel benders. This is the modern version that you write the program and then the machine pretty much does the whole thing for you, yeah?
Yeah, exactly right. So once we've got an idea of what the pipe we want to make, we put it all the coordinates and you know, the bend degrees and rotations and that, we put that all in the machine, and then we have a step-by-step process that we have to teach the machine how to sequence those bend things. And once we've got that happening, then every time we can save that as a sequence, and every time we can duplicate that sequence over and over and over again. So it takes out that human error that can happen from running like a manual machine. It's fully automated. It always, every time, it's millimetre perfect, knows exactly what it's doing.
These guys, Brett here's been doing this for 10 years. It takes 2 years pretty much for any welder to be able to, even if they can weld before they come here, it takes 2 years to get to a level that we expect. These guys are particularly trained in a way so that the weld can be replicated on every single product, no matter which product they make. And for another welder to be able to do the same thing, so that when you put the two parts together, they look like they came from the same machine on the same day. In fact, they're welded by two different people and quite often on different days.
All right, now that the welding is all done and they're looking like a set of pipes, set of extractors, what's the next step to get him looking really schmick and ready to go to the customer?
Okay, so after they're finished with the welding process down there and everything's finished, they come down into this section, and this section here is where the product's actually finished off. Things like the flange plates are machined off back to their surface. The product itself is prepped, and in some cases the headers are blasted, and then everything gets prepped for paint, and they'll go through to the paint shop, which you can see here today in particular. And we've got a batch of King Brown going through, but on any given day it could be Pacemaker Blue or it could be the V8 Black that we've got. So, but just today happens to be King Brown. So it's not hasn't got a thermal property or it's not enhanced by the paint itself. But what it is a very high-tech, high-temperature silicon. It reacts to heat, so it will cure once the engine starts and a bit of temperature goes through the pipe. And it's designed to actually finish the product off, give it a uniform look. In this case, King Brown is a signature for the four-wheel drive market. It takes in a bit of Australiana, the dirty tracks. The tubing itself and mufflers are all stainless steel. They will go brown from temperature. It's the nature of stainless steel. So we painted them brown to give it a uniform look for years to come.
So that's just a small taste of what goes on down here at Pacemaker in Adelaide. They're real car enthusiasts with a massive passion for their craft. And of course, they're big supporters of Street Machine Drag Challenge. We really appreciate that because we couldn't do the event without them. We'll see you guys in November.